Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will discuss India's developmental diplomacy in neighboring Afghanistan. India will be building a major dam in Afghanistan as part of its continued developmental activities in the conflict-hit country. The Shahtut Dam will be the second dam to be built by India in Afghanistan after Salma Dam. An agreement under which the dam will be built by India has been signed by the two countries despite Pakistan's opposition to the project. So, what is the significance of this project? We will try to analyze this in the agenda today. We have with us retired diplomat Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar and retired Major General Rajan Kochar. But before we begin our conversation, let's see this report.
Continuing with its developmental activities in Afghanistan, India will be building a dam that will provide clean drinking water, irrigation, water and electricity to Kabul and surrounding areas. An agreement for construction of the Lalandar or Shahtut Dam was signed after summit-level virtual talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Afghan President Ashraf Ghani yesterday. On the occasion, the Prime Minister asserted that no external force can stop India-Afghanistan friendship or Afghanistan's development. The two countries signed the agreement ignoring Pakistan's objection to the project, which will be built on tributary of the Kabul River, which flows into Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in Pakistan. Pakistan feels the project will lead to reduction in the flow of water. The project is a symbol of India's continued commitment to Afghanistan's development, which has been ravaged by decades of conflict and war. As part of the commitment, India has invested over $3 billion while undertaking over 400 projects in Afghanistan. Among the major projects undertaken by India are the construction of Afghan's parliament building, construction of Salma Dam and construction of Dilaram Zaranj National Highway, which will extend to Chabar Port in Iran. India has also been undertaking hundreds of capacity building projects in Afghanistan. Ghani, while expressing his gratitude, said India-backed projects have changed the lives of people. India's developmental activities and capacity building programs have, however, unnerved Pakistan, which wants to establish its control in Afghanistan through Taliban. But India and Afghanistan are going ahead with the activities as it involves welfare of troubled people of Afghanistan. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Ambassador Sajanhar and Major General Kochar. Welcome to the program, both of you, sir. So I'll first go to Ambassador Sajanhar about the dam, Shahtut Dam, which India will be building in Afghanistan. So what significance does it have?
Well, I'd like to say that this is a continuation that India has undertaken in Afghanistan for a long time. We know that there are, in addition to many other projects, small investment projects, small outlay projects, there are some very big, major investment projects that India has done in that country. For instance, the communication highway in terms of the road, highway, expressway that was constructed between Zaranj and Dilaram. And that is going to be extremely useful and extremely beneficial to Afghanistan, to Iran, to Central Asia when we have the connectivity through Chabahar port. Then we also have the Pune-Kumri transmission line which brings electricity all the way up to Kabul.
Right.
Then over the last few years we have seen, you mentioned about the Salma Dam, which was renamed as the Afghanistan-India Friendship Dam.
Right.
We have the Parliament building, and we have the renovation of the palace, and so on and so forth. And in addition to that, there are so many other projects that we have done. Coming to the Shahtut Dam that was inked yesterday in the presence of Prime Minister Modi and the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. It is a huge project. Outlay would be anything between 250 to 300 million US dollars. So it's a very heavy investment that is going to be put into the project. It will provide, it's on the Kabul River, one of the five main river basins of Afghanistan. It will provide drinking water to about 2 million people of Kabul, of the city of Kabul. And it will provide electricity to generate electricity. It will also provide irrigation to about 10,000 hectares. So it's a multi-purpose dam. And since India has worked in Afghanistan on the Salma Dam, it is aware of the topography, it's aware of the terrain, it's aware of the difficulties and problems that come in that very uneven topography layout in Afghanistan. So this is what India will be doing, and this is a project that will go to benefit the common people. So in terms of providing both electricity, water and irrigation facilities, it is going to help the common people of that country. Like also recently we have sent these 500,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Right.
And that also has been very favorably commented upon, because that is what President Ashraf Ghani said yesterday, that when India itself is in the middle of its vaccination program, at that time to send out these many doses as a gift is truly generous. So I think it is will help the people. It will strengthen friendship, our strategic partnership between the two countries.
So, as a supplementary ambassador, as you mentioned that it will help the people of Afghanistan, but how will it help India strategically or otherwise? What will be India's benefit?
No, I think we have to see it in the context that if we have a friendly government, a friendly relations with the countries in our neighborhood, that is essential for our own safety, security. Because peace, stability, security and prosperity in Afghanistan is vital and critical to our own safety and security.
Right.
Because if we have an inimical power at the helm of affairs in Afghanistan, then that area can be used for terrorist activities against India.
Right.
We are all aware of the IC 814 case in 1999 as to how that land was used. And now with Pakistan also getting involved with the Taliban in a much more proactive manner. If Taliban comes to power there, then Pakistan will have much greater strategic depth which it will use against India.
So, Major General Kochar, as you heard Ambassador Sajanhar about how it is important for us strategically, but at the same time, no, the timing is important, because we are announcing this project at a time when Afghanistan is poised at a crossroad because of the US Taliban deal, because of which Taliban has become more aggressive and it aspires to capture power in Kabul. So in that given situation, how do you see this project announcement?
You see, you have to, first of all, it's a strategic project for Afghanistan, and it will generate employment in the country. And this is not the first time that India has moved forward to take part in the development activities in Afghanistan.
Right.
3 billion US dollars have been invested by India in Afghanistan. Even the parliament of Afghanistan has been made by India. Hospitals in Afghanistan have been made in India. But my major concern is that we can have any amount of development activities, but peace must prevail. And unfortunately, after the signing of the peace accord on 8th October 2020, and a higher council of national reconciliation is Mr. Abdullah. He is involved in this peace process. He was recently in India also, and I happened listen to the discussions at the IDSA, and what his major concern was that the Taliban to be reined in.
Right.
And unless we have a control over the insurgents there, the pulling out of the United States is a question mark as far as I'm concerned. So this should remain our biggest concern as far as India is concerned, that we should be able to bring the Taliban, and for this India can play a very big.
So, General, I want to ask you about the, in fact, same thing. So, we are talking about developmental and capacity building in Afghanistan, but we are, I guess, we are not doing much on the, I mean, military capabilities of Afghan forces, Afghan National Defense Forces. So, shouldn't we do much more to build their capacities militarily so that they can counter Taliban aggression and onslaught? What do you say?
These things are not there in the public domain, but I may share with you that when I was doing training at the National Defense Academy,
Yeah.
we had Afghan cadets doing training with us, and in the Indian Military Academy also every year Afghan cadets are being trained. The second, we have been helping them covertly with basic equipment like vehicles. We have also supplied 58 helicopters to them some years back. But I agree that our defense cooperation is very limited. We are more on the development and the healthcare side.
Yeah.
And I agree with your observation that our policy towards Afghanistan needs a review, because it has been far too long. We have been looking at our neighbors and making a policy. Pakistan should not dictate to us what kind of policy we need to follow with Afghanistan.
Right.
And the time has come now to augment our defense cooperation with Afghanistan.
Right. So, Ambassador Sajjan, you heard about we had to augment our defense ties with Afghanistan. Basically, what I meant, I know about we have been providing helicopters, we have been providing training, but what I meant specifically was about strategy, war strategy, or maybe combat strategies. In those terms, because we have experience in J&K, we have experience in Northeast. Ambassador Sajjan, what do you say on that?
Well, what I would like to say is that barring putting boots on the ground, we should do everything that is possible to help build the capacity and capability of the Afghan National Security Forces. So in that sense, whatever we have supplied, as you said, Mi-25, 4 helicopters, more are coming, the training of the police or the security personnel, etc., etc. Maybe all that could be further enhanced, all that could be further upgraded, and even as far as the defense equipment is concerned, and that also, because I remember that when Hamid Karzai was going and Ashraf Ghani was coming in, there was a big inventory of equipment that they had asked for. But then when Ashraf Ghani came in, initially he was reluctant, he was hesitant. You would recall that when he came in September 2014, India was in fact the 7th country that he visited. He had been to Pakistan, he went to Rawalpindi,
Right.
he went to all these places. And only after that, because he thought that he could work his way through with the generals in Pakistan and try to,
Win them over. Yeah.
Exactly. But that did not happen, as it was bound to fail. So I think India played its cards very well. Also, we waited, we bided our time, we were very patient. And then he came, and even yesterday you saw what President Ashraf Ghani had to say, that safe sanctuaries and safe havens should not be provided, and neighbors should not promote and support terrorism in neighboring countries, of course, all indications towards Pakistan.
Right.
So I think it is a mutual win-win proposition for both countries, for Afghanistan as well as India. Because as I said, our security is very closely and critically, it is hinges on security, peace and stability in Afghanistan. So I see that the fact that the incoming US Biden administration has said that they are going to review the peace deal because they would expect that Taliban would work towards having a ceasefire and a significant reduction in violence,
Right.
which has not happened. And that is why, about the 2,500 troops that the United States has and about 10,000 troops that the ISAF forces are stationed there, that their withdrawal is not going to be concluded by May 2021 as the February 2020 deal had spoken.
Right.
So I think this is going to continue, and this, in my view, is going to be to our benefit, to our advantage. So we need to reach out more actively, proactively to the US administration. We've had the conversation between Prime Minister Modi and Joe Biden yesterday. Afghanistan, of course, was not mentioned. I would not have expected it to be mentioned because there are far more critical and important things.
Yeah, I'll come back on that because I have a point to make on that. So I'll
Yes,
come back
yes,
to that.
sorry.
So, Major General, we talked about how militarily we should help. So this is the time. This Ghani government, Afghanistan government, is under pressure because of after they release Taliban under the peace deal. Because of the peace deal, they are under pressure because there is escalating violence. And in fact, today Vice President Saleh has said that I can pinpoint that every Talib we have released has escalated violence in Afghanistan. So kind of Afghan government, Ashraf Ghani government is under pressure. So isn't it the right time maybe to India to make a move? So help them, because since Americans are maybe abandoning them. That's the impression.
It's a very pertinent point which you have raised. We are reaching out to countries like Vietnam to bolster our presence in the South China Sea.
Right.
Missiles, BrahMos, there is already an agreement, and Akash missile is also going to be exported to these countries
Yeah.
who are there on, because we want to create a deterrence for China
Right.
because of the vulnerability in the Indian Ocean. The same kind of logic should also apply to Afghanistan.
But I think I guess more, because here we have a direct threat from Afghanistan. We face direct threat not from Vietnam.
Yes, I agree with you, but then the Afghanistan government should also be on board,
Yeah.
because what is important is that Ashraf Ghani also has to take a call. That does he want to involve India in the supply of weapons, missiles, technology, and training. It is high time that the Afghanistan army and the Indian army start doing exercises together,
Right.
dovetail their equipment, match the frequencies of their systems, so that in the times to come, we have an ally with us, and this will be a great deterrence to Pakistan, especially Balochistan, because Pakistan is vulnerable in Balochistan.
Right.
There is unrest on there. The people of that area have been neglected far too long, and this is the right opportunity, I would say, to start building up Afghanistan, building up the war capability of Afghanistan, and making them stronger, also counter Taliban.
Right. So, Ambassador Sajjanar, I'll come back to you on the Biden administration thing. As you mentioned that during the talks between Biden and Prime Minister Modi, and also the foreign secretary, foreign ministers of the two countries. There was a mention about Indo-Pacific region, but not about this part of the region, which concerns us more, I guess. So actually, I wanted to ask you about that. So does it show that? Which has been the impression that Americans want India to be kind of out because Pakistan is opposite. So when they talk about Afghanistan, so India should be maybe kept aside. Is that impression correct?
No, I don't think it is correct. I would not agree with that. Let me say, as far as Indo-Pacific and the Quad is concerned, it would be wrong to say that it is not of interest to India. Of course, it is of great interest to India. Because, when we see that we are confronting the Chinese on the land border, we also are confronting the Chinese as far as the maritime ranges are concerned, because that is also where they have vulnerabilities. So I think it is in our own interest that, when they are trying to spread into the global commons of the South China Sea, and they are claiming that to be a Chinese lake, that we push back against that, and that is how, the Quad has come into being. Of course, Quad is not only security structure related, but there are so many other things also. That having been said, that this area is very important. We would remember, meaning, of course, I don't say that, whatever Mr. Trump has said.
What I was saying is, I'm not saying Indo-Pacific is not important, but I was saying comparatively, we have a direct, inimical forces.
To that, Ajay. I was just coming to that,
sure.
Because you mentioned about Indo-Pacific, so I first wanted to refer to that. Now I want to come to Afghanistan also, because I think at every level, starting from the time of George W. Bush to now, they have been very keen that India should get engaged in a more substantive way. If you also remember the August 2017 South Asia strategy that had been initiated by President Trump, he had said that India needs to play a much bigger role and much more substantive and much more proactive role. So I think the Americans
sorry to interrupt you, but I guess that was basically they wanted Indian boots to be there, which India was
exactly. Yeah, that, and also, in whichever other way in terms of military training and military supplies and so on and so forth. So as I said at the beginning, barring boots on the ground, I think we should be ready, we should be prepared to do anything. And I don't think that it would be a correct assessment, in my view. As I mentioned, Ashraf Ghani, when he came in September 2014, he was apprehensive, he was reluctant, he was reticent in getting sophisticated armaments from India. But I think that has long disappeared. And now the ball is very much in our court. I think we have to make a decision on that as to what is the nature of equipment and military hardware that we are prepared to supply. And I think there the decision should be taken quickly. And we should try to, because many a times when Ashraf Ghani has come, when Abdullah has come, they have been trying to push their own inventory list in terms of getting these items from India. I'm sure there must be some very strong reasons as to why we have not gone into more proactively into that. But sitting where I am, meaning I'm not aware of all the details. But on the face of it, I definitely think that Afghanistan could do with much greater help in the military field as far as missiles are concerned, as far as other lethal military hardware is concerned. I think we should give a very serious look at it, focus on it, and try to supply all that we can as far as Afghanistan is concerned.
Yeah, General Kochhar, I'll come back to you. So, if we talk about helping, militarily, one part is, of course, strategy-wise, because our military strategy has been refined over decades in counter-insurgency, counter-terrorism. And maybe now we are we are experts in drones, which are used now in operations in J&K also, counter-insurgency operations. So, what do you say about that, helping Afghanistan in that?
You see, Afghanistan, the technology as far as equipment is concerned, we have a medium RT gun now, Dhanush, and it's being manufactured in the country. It won't be a bad idea to supply this gun to Afghanistan. The second is that as far as drones are concerned, this drone technology has so far not been patented in a big way in India. We are importing this item from the United States as well as Israel. And our one or two Indian companies have already started production of this item in India. Under the Make in India and Atmanirbharta campaign, and in very a short time, we should be in a position to be fairly comfortable with the indigenous drone. And this is the right opportunity we have got now, and we must not let it go. If you remember, we have a strategic partnership agreement with Afghanistan, which was signed in the year 2011.
Right.
But we haven't done much under the agreement so far.
Right.
So it's the need of the hour, and I'm sure Afghanistan would be equally interested to forge an agreement with India for supply of critical equipment. Because if you see the terrain in Afghanistan, they have a desert terrain
Right.
and they have a mountain terrain. And we have got equipment which actually functions in both these terrains.
Right.
And we have the combat experience also.
Yeah.
This is a good time to get into these agreements.
Yeah. So I had to conclude one last question to Ambassador Sajanar. So as you heard General Kocher that we could do more, but we have not been doing. So what stops India from doing it? Why are we so reticent? Maybe 1 minute.
I don't know whether we are strategically reticent or it is because of some dearth in supplies as far as our own requirements are concerned. Because I think we need to recognize also
No,
that
if you talk, sorry for interrupting, but if we talk about strategically helping in counter-insurgency operations, what is? I mean, we can give that expertise.
No, absolutely. And you see, I'm sure that is all being provided. These are not things that you go onto the rooftops and announce to everyone around the world.
Yeah.
I think these are things that keep on happening even under the radar. And all this training and all this other, facilities, I am sure that they are, all the expertise that we have, that our personnel have, that is being shared with our counterparts in Afghanistan.
Okay.
That I do not have any doubt. I think it is only in terms of the equipment that, because for us also, now we have also, it has become 3,488 kilometer border with China has also really become live. And we need to take care of that also. So I think our own requirements, of course, take priority in all these things. Our own security takes priority before we can start sharing all that we have with our neighbors and with the other countries. And I'm sure that must be one of the restraints. But maybe we need to go into it deeper to find out what are the real issues involved and how they can be tackled and how they can be dealt with.
Right. So maybe we need to do more thinking about how to help Afghan government against Taliban's rise. But thank you both of you for participating in this debate today.
Thank you.
Very much.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.